Hello guys, Ezra here and welcome back to another Ezra review. And on today's review, I want to talk about Venom: The Last Dance. This is supposed to be the conclusion of the Venom trilogy. Even though we all know that he might come back in the futures, but yeah, it's supposed to be a conclusion of Eddie Brock and Venom storyline. From the Sony Spiderman universe. Without Spider-Man, my add you guys. We have no idea if there's gonna be like an original Spider-Man, or they're gonna bring back Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield to this Sony Spider-Man universe, but doesn't seems to be the case. It's kind of weird calling this universe a Sony Spider-Man universe, but you don't have any Spider-Man on it. It's just like, why even bother at this point. But yeah, for the third movie, it's pretty much what you expect, because if you like the first two Venom movie, then I think you will like this one also. But I feel like for me, I was mostly disappointed with the whole trilogy, to be honest, because I think it could be a really cool trilogy. There is so much potential here, especially in the third act of this movie, which I'm gonna get to that later. So there will be a spoiler, this is gonna be a spoiler review. So if you guys haven't watched Venom: The Last Dance, then don't watch this review, because again, spoiler alert, guys. But as usual, I want to talk about the positive aspect about the movie. I think the action sequence in this movie are great. I think they are pretty creative, especially when they edify some bad guys in the Mexico City. That was fun. And then they have some fight in the river, I think that was also fun. And then you got the third act, which I think is a really long action sequence, which is the best part about this movie. And of course, Tom Hardy is still great as Eddie Brock. I think the chemistry between Eddie Brock and Venom are great. That's still the best part about the Venom trilogy, and they remain consistent. But at the same time, I feel like they are leaning way too hard into the comedic aspect of the characters, that I feel like, yeah, after a while, it kind of gets old, because like I like how Tom Hardy just like portray the character, just like moving his hand up and down, or like using his body language, as a comedic elements of it, which I quite like that. But it might get old, especially when you get to the third movie. But still, I still think Tom Hardy is great, for basically committing to the act. So I think, yeah, he's the best part about the Venom trilogy. And of course, the visual effects. I think the visual effects about the Venom and the symbiotes, the other symbiotes that appears in this movie, they're looking great, man. I love the VFX so much. And yeah, I think besides that, I don't know, nothing much to say, because I think there is a lot of weird stuff about this movie. So I'm gonna get to the negative stuff about the movie, or I guess the weird part about the movie. I think there is random family characters that was in this movie. One of them, the father is played by Rhys Ifans, I think, which is the actor who plays the Lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man. And for some reason, they cast him to play this random father, which is like, okay, like, what's the purpose of this family? I don't know, because like the family is just there to see Area 51, because like Area 51 is about to be closed, and then the father was like the believer of aliens, so they decided to go to Area 51 for the one last time, because the area was being closed, and they just pretty much to be there as a civilian that needs to be saved in the third act of the battle. Like that's pretty much it. And they're also able to enter Area 51 just like freely. Like it seems like there is no guard in this place, which is super weird, because like the real Area 51 has like a sniper, I think, that basically blocking the path. And then in this one, because I know that the Area 51 is basically closing, I get that, but there is still a lot of military people in the area, and for some reason no one is there to guard the entrance, and the family just like wander in the area, and they're like, okay, just to be there, and that's it. So that's some weird stuff. And there are stuff is that which I'm kind of 50-50 about this, because this movie is basically a road trip, where Venom and Eddie try to go to New York City, because apparently Eddie has like some lawyer or judge, that he can basically manipulate, to basically free them from the charges, from San Francisco, because they are fugitive now, but they're not exactly smart, because like they said, oh, we're a fugitive, so we have to hide from the public eye, and then immediately after he walks out of the bar in Mexico, immediately just get caught by the CCTV. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're not even trying to hide yourself. Just like walk in the open area, so like another CCTV can pick you up. And then obviously that's where the team find him. And it's just like, yeah, he's pretty stupid. I know he's supposed to be funny, like haha, like stupid Eddie and Venom, but it's just like, dude, come on, dude, like don't do that. It's just so dumb. But again, the reason why I was like, 50-50 about this, because there is some good action sequence, like in the river, like you see in the trailer, where there is some good moment where Eddie actually killed one of the soldiers, and as he felt guilty about doing that, even though that it was never brought that, it was never brought back up again. They were just like, yeah, I feel bad for killing this soldier woman, and then they just move on, and they never mentioned that again. So it's like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, I think the idea is good, but it's like, again, they never like execute that well, and they never just revisit that element ever again. So like, what's the point, man? And of course Venom turns into a horse. You see this on trailer. That was fun. I think the VFX again is great. The comedic element between Eddie and Venom, again, they're always great in my opinion. But yeah, besides that, it's like there's just a bunch of weird stuff that was happening in the road trip, to the point that it's just convenient that it happens, and they get to Las Vegas, which is just another fun scene, where they get to meet Mrs. Chen again, which is in Vegas for some reason. And then Venom did something so stupid, because there's this plot point where we get to see the big enemy of this movie is obviously Null, and Null sends the Xenophage, which is basically his minion, to find the Codex, and the Codex basically exists when a symbiote basically resurrected a dead body, which in case it happens in the first Venom movie where Eddie got killed, so that's where Venom decided to resurrected Eddie in the first movie, and that's how the Codex was born, and the only reason why this Xenophage was able to go to Venom and Eddie is because if actually Venom able to transform, fully transform into Venom, like that's where the Codex was able to be detected by the Xenophage. And these things was super fast, which is also another best part about the movie, that the Xenophage, I think they are well designed. They are great for the action sequence. There is a moment where they eat a bunch of guys, and then there is just blood like coming out from their back, which I'm just like, damn, like, is this movie R-rated? Like, what the hell, man? Like, that was cool. That was really cool. I like that, So they managed to establish this threat of the Xenophage, but when they get to Vegas, like, Venom pretty much says to Eddie that, like, Eddie, I can't exactly transform fully into Venom, because like the Xenophage will detect us, and this thing was super duper fast, with their detection, and then, but in Vegas, Venom decided to transform fully and dance with Mrs. Chen, even though that he knows that the Xenophage is gonna be coming right after him, and it's just like, why would you do that? Like, Venom spent an entire road trip telling Eddie that, like, hey, I cannot transform fully because like this thing will detect us. And then when they get to Vegas, Venom just transformed fully, like Eddie called out Venom that, oh, this is like an idiotic thing to do, because like this Xenophage will came after us, which it does. But Venom just like, nah, who cares? I just transformed fully and just dance with Mrs. Chen, it was fun, and just like, dude, come on, like, it's so stupid, it seems like the movie just trying to be convenient, like, oh, okay, guys, Eddie Brock was in Vegas, and we have to get him to the third act of the movie, which is Era 51. So let's just make Venom into an idiot, so the Xenophage can find our main character and head it straight to Era 51 where the final battle can happen. Like, it's just so convenient and dumb, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's like the writer have no idea how to basically pace the story. So they're just like, yeah, let's just let our main character do some dumb stuff, even though it was established that it was a really wrong thing to do, but they're just gonna do it anyway because why not, and it's just, yeah, it's really dumb. It's just, man, it's stupid, but yeah, besides that, I want to get to the third act of the movie now, and they have some other characters that was reintroduced in this movie. One of them is Patrick Mulligan, played by Stephen Graham, and back in the second movie, he was infected with a symbiote, and based on the comics, Patrick Mulligan becomes toxin, but that's not seems to be the case in this movie, because like there is a different symbiote that inhabit his body, and this was a green symbiote, because I have no idea what's the name of the symbiotes, but yeah, I think the symbiotes are pretty cool, I think all this is finally we get to see a different type of symbiotes, I mean, the first one has Riot, the second one has Carnage, sure, but I feel like this one has the most kind of symbiotes in the third act of the movie, and that's why it's like the coolest part about the movie, but the reason, again, the way they bring back Patrick Mulligan's character are pretty pointless. He was just there to basically as a work as an exposition to the scientists and the general of the military, from Area 51, so they can get caught up to the main plot of the movie. Like there is this guy named Null. He's been sending the xenophage to Earth, to find the codex. So you have to find Venom. You have to kill him if because if you want to save your planet, so Null can be imprisoned, and it's just like, yeah, okay, sure. But Mulligan character doesn't add much to the movie. He was just there as, again, just to explain the plot point to the side characters, and then that's it. And when they get to the third act, when the symbiote finally like, hey, Venom, please escape, while he's trying to hold back the xenophage, he just dies, and just that's it for his character. Like, it was so so underutilized. It was so disappointing, to bring back a previous character from the second movie and just to be there to talk, and then that's it. He just died in the end of the movie. It's so stupid. But the third act, like I said before, is really cool because you have so many other symbiotes here. One of them is a green symbiote named Lasher, I think. Like, I think she's the coolest symbiote in the third act of the movie. There's a bunch of them, because again, I cannot name every single one of them, but it's really cool, because like in the comics, there is a different kind of symbiote. There was actually basically an offspring of Venom, but in the Venom movies, they were actually separated symbiotes. And I think we saw a Scream, which is the yellow symbiote. But it was in the first movie, where Scream basically just dies off screen. That was disappointing. I wish they kind of bring back Scream to this movie, because I would love to see her. But we also got to see another female symbiote, which is a purple symbiote's name. I think it was named Agony, right? But I think the way they used Agony's character was also disappointing, because like she just Dr. Teddy Payne, which is a new character in this movie, she transformed into Agony, but it was only in the final minutes of the battle to save some guy, to save basically the girl who became Slasher, and then that's it. Like, it was a cool power. It seems like she was merged with the lightning, because like Dr. Payne basically got struck by a lightning when he was a kid, that basically killed her twin brother, and that's why she got this like lightning power when she merged with Agony, which I think is really cool power, which is kind of like the Flash essentially, but it wasn't used properly in the movie, so that was disappointing. But yeah, but the rest of the fight between all the symbiotes against one of the xenophage, that was really cool. All the military people just like shooting this thing to death, and then just like, it's a really chaotic action sequence, but I think it's a really well done action sequence, because again, we get to see Venom finally in action, and just be creative with the action sequence, with all these different symbiotes, they're all cool looking. Again, the VFX are great, and obviously during the final battle, the xenophage is said to call backup, from the other xenophage, that was working with Null, and we get to see a bunch of them in Area 51, and then we get to see one of the one by one the symbiotes dies, which is, again, even though it was really cool to see this different kind of symbiotes by the end of the movie, it was disappointing the way they handled it, because I want to see more of them. They were really cool, and then you just introduce them in the final act of the movie, which again, great action sequence, but they just die with by the xenophage, and it just, again, it was just disappointing, man. I feel like this whole trilogy is just disappointing, because again, there is no Spider-Man, even though this was a Venom movie, but no Spider-Man. Okay, sure, weird, but okay, and then you introduce this many different version of the symbiotes, and then they just die in the third act of the movie. What's in reality, I want to see more of them. I want to see Venom basically forming his own Avengers symbiotes. I think that would be really cool. I feel like the elements is right there, but they don't do that. And they're just focusing on this, introducing them by the final moments in the movie and just kill them, and it was just so disappointing, and that's, you're gonna hear me saying that a lot, it's just so disappointing, because it is, I feel like there's a huge potential that this movie could be really cool, if they just use all the symbiotes throughout the movie, and maybe team up with the Venom throughout the movie to defeat the military guys and then the xenophage as well, before we get to the third act of the movie. But they don't do that. Because of that, the middle portion of the movie just like a slog, where things just happen randomly, and then when you get to the third act, that's where the story kind of go a bit more cohesively, which is again the best part about the movie, which I argue that Venom the Last Dance has like the best third act of any Venom movie, because of the many symbiotes, and I think the Xenophage are a really cool design, I think they are really menacing, so I love them a lot, but yeah, besides that, it's just like, yeah, it's just another okay Venom movie, which is like pretty much in par with the Sony Spider-Man universe, because Sony have no idea what the fuck they were doing with this Sony Spider-Man universe, like they keep making this like Spider-Man villain movie, but there is no Spider-Man. Like, who is the Spider-Man in the Sony Spider-Man universe? You can call it a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. I'm just saying, I think maybe they can get Andrew Garfield to be part of the Sony Spider-Man universe. I think there is a news that maybe Sony offered that to Andrew Garfield, and then Andrew Garfield actually turned that down, which I think smart move, I guess, because like the movies are being either trash or just completely mid, just like the Venom movie, So yeah, I really wish that this movie was R-rated, just like all the trilogy, like I think the trilogy should be R-rated, so we get to see a bit more blood there, I think the blood they were showing in this movie was really cool, but again, I feel like it's just a missed opportunity, man. Like, just imagine if in the first movie, we get to see Venom versus Spider-Man, and that's how he gets the white spider symbols on his chest, because like the third movie, and then he hasn't met Spider-Man yet, and I think there is a rumor that because Null is still alive, Null is still going to be the big villain in the Sony Spider-Man universe, I guess, and it feels like this movie might lead up to the Tom Holland Spider-Man 4, maybe, because it's all like a multiverse stuff, and Null is gonna be the big multiverse threat for the Spider-Man universe, I guess, because I think not a bad idea, but it's just like, I don't know, man, it's just all over the place to the point that I have no idea where they could go with this, I still think Venom is gonna come back, I think it was made obvious by the post-credit scenes, but yeah, as a conclusion to the trilogy, it was disappointing, to be honest, I guess Eddie finally was in New York now, the town where Spider-Man live, so maybe he can finally match Spider-Man, in the future movies, it's not gonna be a solo Venom movie, but it's gonna be another maybe Spider-Man movies in the future, who knows, but yeah, that's my review for Venom the Last Dance, guys. It's just okay in my opinion, so let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about this movie right here, do you guys actually like this movie, or do you guys actually, like me, found the movie to be pretty disappointing, just like the previous Venom movie, like they could be fun, but like they're not great, so yeah, let me know your opinions in the comment section below, guys, and how do you guys think Sony will use Null in the future movies, because I seriously have no idea, because the Sony universe has been super confusing in my opinion, so if you guys have your own theory, like how the story will go in the future, let me know in the comment section below, guys, and what is your favorite symbiote in this movie, also let me know about that in the comment section below, guys, and again, if you guys enjoyed this review, then make sure, guys, bite that subscribe and like button, guys, share the videos, do your stuff, and set up more videos, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.